Ladies and gentlemen, we are today having a study session with Axon to go over some new features and potential saving money for the city of Dearborn Heights. I know we have our police chief, we have our Captain Hatton, and we have a representation from Axon. Can you please join us and you guys can step up and begin your presentation?
Hello, everyone. Captain Hatton from the police department. So real quick, I don't want to talk too long because we do have our sales representative from Axon here, Kyle Heitz. He's been working with us for about a year now. Essentially, we have a contract with Axon. For those of you that don't know, I know we had a demonstration last month and a couple of you were able to come out and see some of the equipment firsthand. We are under contract with Axon until 2027. For those that don't know, Axon provides us with our camera systems, body-worn cameras, in-car cameras, cameras in our interview rooms at our station booking area. They also provide us with our TASER system and the online platform evidence.com that manages and stores all that camera footage. What we are looking to do is extend and rewrite our current contract with Axon, essentially combining the four that we have and making it one contract where would provide additional platforms, upgrades to equipment, upgrades to tasers, upgrades to the full camera system, include an AI bundle, which Kyle here is going to describe, and introduce a drone system. So that contract would be rewritten to become a 10-year contract, so it would extend to 2034, but by doing so, and if we can do so before June 30th, we would save approximately $1.5 million. He's going to explain all that, so I'm going to hand it over to him, and then of course I'll be here to answer any questions once he's done.
I also just want you guys to know that Captain Hans also sent us an email about a month ago, inviting us to the presentation. All of council was invited. I know a couple of the council members went. I went. I actually got to see firsthand. I felt like it was at an expo. It was really, really creative, seeing how there's so much protection coming for our police officers, and also just seeing the new updated equipment being AI generated and many other things. Go ahead.
Excellent. Thank you, Captain Hatton. Good afternoon, good evening, members of council. Appreciate y'all giving the opportunity to be here. Good to see some familiar faces. And for those of you that I have not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Kyle Heitz. I'm an account executive here at Axon. I work largely with accounts here in the Midwest, but primarily here in Michigan and in Ohio. Very excited to chat through some of the potential changes we're looking to make and extend the partnership that we have with Dearborn Heights. In terms of questions, do you guys want to ask questions kind of as we go, save those till the end?
We'll save them to the end.
Okay, excellent. I'll try to be brief. I know everyone's, we got a lot going on, and I can sometimes tend to be long-winded, so if I get on a tangent, just raise your hand, and I'll try to stop and pause.
And give us your name again.
It's Kyle Heitz.
Kyle?
Yep. And so before we get started into the contract details itself, thought I'd give you guys a little bit of an introduction into Axon and us as a company. And so Axon is largely considered a public safety technology company. We work in some capacity with just about every law enforcement agency across the country and a lot of agencies across the world. We started out as TASER International back in the 90s and introduced the TASER energy weapon, and since then have kind of grown and morphed and changed into what is now known as Axon, and we've diversified our products and services to now include body-worn cameras, in-car, tasers, drones, VR training, a lot of which we'll kind of chat about a little bit today. But what you see here and kind of what our motto is, or our end goal, is to protect life. And you see our moonshot. This is something that we introduced back in 2023, which was a pledge that we made to help try to cut gun-related deaths between police and the public by 50% within the next 10 years. So quite a lofty goal, but it is something that I believe in. It's something that I think we're on track to do. It's something that I do think that we can accomplish through the right technology, through the right partnerships, and it's something that I absolutely think that some of the technology that we're going to be discussing today with Dearborn Heights can help us take steps in the right direction. And I like to start with this because I think it's a good foundation to what we're trying to do. And at the end of the day, you know, some of the stuff that we're looking at today, I firmly believe is going to help us achieve this mission. So our goal and the department goals are largely one and one, right? And so at the end of the day, us as a company, the police department, you know, we take strides every day to ultimately protect life, protect the community, make the community a safer place. And I want you to know that, you know, over the last year, we've gone through careful considerations, and every product and service that is included in this has been vetted fully and has done so with an effort to achieve some of the goals that we see here today, right? And so some of the things that we're going to be looking to accomplish is enhancing our less than lethal options, giving our officers the best technology to avoid the use of lethal force at all costs. We want to be able to provide additional training for our officers. I don't think there's a police department or law enforcement agency in the country that thinks they have enough training. Time, personnel restrictions help prohibit that. And so our VR training is going to give our officers more opportunities to train and see situations in a practice scenario before seeing those in the field. We want to improve how we interact with the community. We want to be able to add tools that's going to minimize response times and increase officer safety. And then at the end of the day, we want to just have an opportunity to become more efficient. And that's exactly what this new program is going to help us accomplish. And kind of how we'll highlight today. So as I go through some of the new stuff, I just want you to keep some of these things in mind. And everything that we're looking to do is going to help us achieve some of these goals. Before we get into some of the new stuff, though, I do want to touch a little bit on the current program so that y'all are up to speed on what's going on today. As Captain mentioned, we are currently in year 3 of a 5-year contract that is set to expire in 2027. This year and next year, the expectation or the expected spend with Axon is right around $273,000. And that spend is split up into about 4 contracts. You currently have your TASER contract on one, you have your body cameras and in-car camera on another, and then there's been a few add-ons since then. So you have about 4 different contracts floating around there. So one of the primary goals of this rewrite, renewal, extension is going to be contract consolidation and trying to just get everything all on one piece of paper to make it easier to manage, in addition to adding some of those new contracts and services. And so I won't go through each of these line items individually. I'm happy to answer any questions on what these products are. But I'll touch a little bit on one thing. I want you guys to know that this current program is not a failure by any means. This has been a largely successful program over the last couple of years and can continue to do so, but needs have just changed. And over time, technology changes, the needs of the department change. This was the first contract that included body-worn cameras for the city, and I'm sure, as you guys all know, anytime you start something new, as you start to experience it and live it and utilize that on a daily basis, you realize maybe you forgot a couple things change. And that's what this new contract is designed to help accomplish. Is let's bridge the gap on some of those challenges that we've uncovered the last few years. Let's add tools that can help us as our needs have changed. And let's set ourselves up for success for a longer period of time over the next 10 years. This slide is going to help us just see a quick comparison of the changes that we're looking to make with the proposed contract. On the left, you're going to see what the current contract is. The middle, you're going to see the proposed contract. And then on the right, it's going to outline what those changes are. Again, I won't go through each individual line, but I'll touch on a lot of the core functions here. We'll look at some of the product-specific stuff on the next slide, but just from a contract structure standpoint, some of the big changes that we're looking to make here is, again, consolidation. We want to make sure to get everything on one piece of paper. That way it's easy to know what we have, what the duration is, what the spend is, and help for future considerations. We're going to extend that contract term. So currently we have 2 years remaining. We want to extend that contract for the next 10 years. That's going to give us a lot of future spend prediction. It's going to help us lock in this current pricing for a longer period of time. But at the same time, I want you to look at the middle here. I don't know if you can see my mouse. But I want you to look at the hardware refresh section. So what that's going to do is it's going to give us a lot of flexibility and predictability in terms of our hardware considerations. And so I'm sure, as you guys are aware, technology is changing every day. And what technology is available today is not the technology that was available 3 years ago when this current contract was set in place. And so though you are locking into a longer period of time, you're doing so at today's rate. And there are built-in hardware refreshes so that you guys do not get left behind in terms of technology. As that technology evolves, we make sure that you guys are well equipped and have the best technology to attend to your community and have the police department do the job to the best of their ability.
Which one is he supposed to put on there? Who's that one?
From a product standpoint, we are adding a handful of new products that is really stapled or anchored down by these 5 items here. And these are some pretty major and monumental changes that the police department is hoping to make. First and foremost, we have the virtual reality training. This is an awesome opportunity to provide our officers with more training that they can use to be prepared for situations they may see in the field. Highlighted by a need to help emphasize calls for service that are mental health related. This is going to give them a chance to see different mental health related related calls in VR so that they can understand how to best react to those when they see those in the field. It's also going to help with decision-making and tactical training to ensure that if some level of force is going to be needed, that it's the appropriate level of force, right? So helping verbal de-escalate, helping go through and use less than lethal options, and then ultimately, helping, practice our tactical skills in the event that that force is needed. So that VR is going to give us additional training. Taser 10 is the next generation of taser device. It's the safest, most reliable taser energy weapon to date. This is ensuring that officers have the best use of less lethal technology available so that if, again, the use of force is needed, that they have the correct tool to be confident in using anything other than deadly force. This is going to be the safest form of taser that we've seen. It's going to give you the largest distance at 45 feet, and it's going to give you 9 total opportunities for neuromuscular incapacitation, which is almost 2 times what the current taser device is. So providing them with the best, less lethal, or the best taser energy weapon on the market is going to be a huge priority. We also have the AI airplane, as Captain Hatton highlighted. This is a revolutionary piece of technology that allows us to tap into artificial intelligence to help streamline current day-to-day processes. And so 2 things that I want to highlight here today are the Draft 1 AI report writing. This tool is going to allow us to leverage AI to break down body-worn camera footage and ultimately provide the first draft of a report. This is saving departments on average 50% of time in terms of report writing, which is resulting in hundreds of thousands of man hours every year that the department is saving, which can then be helping clear cases faster, reallocate time in the field, and just in general interact with the community more, do anything other than sit in front of a computer to handle these reports. So huge time savings in terms of report writing that can be made with the AI airplane. And the next is a live translation feature. This is going to allow the body-worn camera itself to turn into somewhat of a translator. I know there is a large non-English speaking population here in Dearborn Heights. And so this is going to help bridge the gap of language barrier between maybe a predominantly or primarily English-speaking officer and a member of the community who may speak English as a second language or may not speak English very well at all. And so using that body-worn camera as a translator can allow an officer in the field to better interact with the public, potentially avoid a dangerous situation as a result of a language barrier. So these are just 2 of the many. The AI airplane is designed to give you a number of different AI-related tools to help streamline functions. But the great thing is that, as Captain Hatton mentioned, this is currently on early adopters pricing. And so there are huge cost savings outlined on that with the execution date before the end of June. So that's one of the reasons that we're here today. And the last 2, but certainly not least, and I'm trying to power through these for you guys, but we have the Drone as a First Responder, or DFR program. This is maybe one of the most critical tools that we'll see here, and the adoption and use of drones to help with everyday policing. The Drone as First Responder plan is going to allow for remotely piloted drones that can be used for a variety of different calls for service, whether it's a simple domestic, or whether it's a vehicle pursuit, or maybe a missing children accident reconstruction. The opportunities are endless, and this can be another tool that can help, especially in a time of short staffing, to help provide officers more resources and more information as they go to calls for service, potentially even help clear calls without needing to send a body. And so that drone program has seen tremendous success, even in other local law enforcement agencies, as I'm sure you've seen. It can be a great tool, an asset to the city. And then finally, we have Fusus. Fusus is going to be our real-time crime center platform. This is going to allow us to take all the different pieces of technology, consolidate those, and make those viewable under a single pane of glass. And so if you think about what's available today, body-worn camera, an in-car camera, being able to see officers' location, being able to tap in and view a live stream through different CCTV footages throughout the city. I mean, if you think about maybe there's potentially a missing children that gets called in, think about that at your local park. And if we're able to understand what resources that we have in the area, quickly tap in and view those live streams, that could hopefully, save one life or recover one missing children. And if that's the case there, then, typically that technology is worth every penny. And so having that technology can be extremely important in just making our community feel safer and helping quickly resolve potential incidents. The last piece I'll touch on very shortly is continuous investment. And so, one thing that's always top of mind is just making sure you guys are getting up to date. You're not being left behind with the technology vendor, especially when we're considering a 10-year contract. So just so you're aware, Axon invests 20% of our revenue every year into research and development. This is so we can ensure we're staying above the trend, to ensure that our partners have the best technology and that we're always innovating. And so I want you guys to feel confident that if you choose to partner with us for a long period of time, we're going to continue to innovate and ensure that you guys have the best technology at your disposal.
And if you don't mind,
Sure.
if you can give us a cost benefit analysis on how we're gonna be saving the millions.
Yeah, got you right here.
Okay.
So what the program is going to look like from a cost perspective, over 10 years, total cost will be $5,551,411.75. I understand that this may be a large number, but I do think when you take a step back and think that over a 10-year period, for all the technology that you're receiving, the hardware updates, there really is great value in this. From a cost savings perspective, the incentives that we have applied for contract execution before the end of June is going to total just over $1,500,000. $504,000 of that is going to be related to the AI era plan's early adopters pricing. And so, as I had mentioned, this has been out for a little bit less than a year. And as a result of departments choosing to partner with us within that first year, we're providing discounted pricing, which is what the result of that is. And then in addition to that, we want to make sure you guys feel confident that you're getting the best deal for this technology. And as a result, the department has negotiated and we have provided an additional 15% discount, which equates to just over $1 million in additional savings. Again, we value you as a partner. We want to make sure you guys feel confident about this technology and that you're getting it at the best price. And so that's where you're seeing that $1.5 million in savings. How we break up this cost is ultimately up to you. And what you see here on the screen is going to be three options. Option one is going to be just a pretty simple. It's broken down evenly year over year for the full 10 years. So $555,141 per year for 10 years. Option two is a little bit more flexible. So $273,303.96 is what you currently are expected to pay Axon. What we can do is we can keep those two payments the same. So you expect no budget change in the immediate future. And then you see that cost change starting in year 3. Again, this allows you to adopt this technology today while you're able to take advantage of this cost savings without having any immediate impact to your budget. And then option 3 would be similar, right? We keep 2025 pricing the same, and then we start to see a slow increase in price year over year starting in year 2. Again, these are just 3 options. We can generally be very flexible with how the invoicing is done based on department preference or agency preference. But these are just 3 common ones that we see a lot of agencies start to utilize, and that can be available really at your discretion. From a cost analysis standpoint, I know a lot of questions is this is happening very quickly. What if we just wait until our current contract is over and then we do this in 2027? So I've ran these numbers here. The cost of waiting is going to equate to just under $1.5 million by doing this now in June versus in 2027 when your current contract is up. So on the left, you're going to see the remaining current contract prices. In the middle, you're going to see the estimate that we've gone over today for the program here in 2025. And then on the right is going to be what the pricing is estimated to be in 2027. And so when you take away the incentives that have been applied and then factor year over year increases in pricing, we're looking at a pretty significant change in cost from now until 2027. And so over the next 10 years, we're going to be looking at a $1.4 million savings by doing this now. But this program, which costs $5,551,000 today, will cost just under $8 million in 2027 based on the numbers that we've calculated. And so again, very significant cost savings that we have by doing this now versus in 2027.
I got a question real
Yes.
quick. Do you think we need to have all the bells and whistles right up on a 10-year contract? Because I'm going to be completely honest. We're the fiduciary for the city, and truth is, if we bump up our budget even $100,000 next year, we're not in a good position.
Sure.
Like, I'm just being completely, $10 million over the next, $5 million over the next 10 years, basically 250, it's about $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
And the reality is, we don't have that. And so maybe we can, get some of the things, but we don't need all the bells and whistles, kind of like you said, where you generate the AI that writes up, but you still have to make sure. I think you showed us, they put in certain words in there to make sure that you actually went through and did it, and, leadership can oversee it and make sure that that is being done. But the truth of the matter of fact is this. I can speak for myself and somebody who's looked at this budget for the last 4.5 years, and I've said this, I've shared this with the police department. It's a very tough budget.
Sure.
And for us to find ways without any extra revenue sources to increase our budget for an additional $250,000 per year, it's going to be hefty. I'm just gonna be completely honest, but we also understand that what comes with this, because, in a couple of years, we're gonna need new, body cams. In a couple of years, we're gonna need more equipment, which is gonna cost obviously some money, and
Sure.
we're aware of that. The truth is, one, we're gonna have to hear something from finance.
Absolutely.
We're gonna, we pay a lot of money every single year to, Plant Moran Gap. It should have been, we need to share this information with them.
Yeah.
And aside from wanting all the bells and whistles, which we want to make sure that our police department is properly equipped, to make sure that they're always back on the road and serving the residents, gotta make sure we can afford it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We don't want to lie to you and tell you, yeah, we're gonna do this over the next 10 years, come year 3. And if we went with option, if you can go back to the screen, if we went with option number 2, we planned for it, and then we gotta jump up to 625, 625, 625, 625, 625. It's just, that puts us at a $300,000 increase, and maybe I believe in the expo meeting that we had with you guys, maybe there's grants out there that can help assist us, to make these payments.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately for us just to, and I love this presentation, we also have to make sure that, one, we're being fiscally responsible. We need to send this over to Plant Moran Gap. Maybe we can send this over to the funding scouts that's doing our grants, and to see how we can earn some money for this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I truly believe we can do it, and I 100% believe that we can find grant money for this, but we're not just gonna go jump into something blindly and say, hey, we're gonna take this up $250,000 and we're gonna find a way to pay for it, because the truth is, we're short-staffed. We'd like to hire more officers. We'd like to have more, availability for more overtime. And things like this are going to take away from hiring more officers and allowing more overtime. So it's like, we have to really see where the balance is. But we know that we need this.
Sure.
So maybe, I don't know, I know you're giving us, you said a 15% discount, which is close to $1 million. Maybe you can go back to some of your, and I know you guys came out here, you guys are from Chicago. We can find a way to shave another $1 million off. I know it sounds, but it's a 10-year contract, right? And I'm not here to negotiate, but maybe you could take off some of the bells and whistles, find us a little bit of savings. Then, maybe we can still figure out option 2 where it's like, I don't know, it's tough.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
How tight is that contract? Would there be a fee if we were to say we can't do it at year 3?
I mean, there are non-appropriations clauses built in that help protect you in the event that funding is not available as expected. And so there are some safeguards that are included in there. So that's,
Do you know of anybody else that's gotten funded for this project?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've worked with a number of different agencies, not only across Michigan, but across the country. I know just over in Grand Rapids, there are a handful of agencies that have adopted the AI ERA package, as well as many even here in the Detroit area that are on our officer safety plan, which is what we see today. And so it is widely being adopted. And I certainly understand the funding aspect of it. That's why we really wanted to bring this to your attention in a study session, so you could, digest the information, give us your feedback, and give us an opportunity. I know the captain and the chief had discussed some additional funding opportunities through grants through MMRMA and a few other sources. So I'll defer to them on some of that information, but I know they have actively been looking in that.
Council Chair?
Yes, your councilman.
Thank you, sir. Well, I do want to thank you for being here, and I do appreciate the presentation and the previous presentation. Everything is amazing. I'm in love with this technology, and I'm all support to give the police department what they need. I do want to echo what Council Chair has said. We have to be fiscally responsible, but the thing is, too, one thing I don't agree with Council Chair, I'm kind of hesitant about the 10-year term.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're on, in technology, and technology is changing by the day.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years, how long we had those cameras for? 2 years? Not even 2 years. Was it more than 2 years?
Yeah, no, we've had them when
I
former
know-
police chief Mark Myers was here.
Was it? Okay, 3 years.
The cameras are first generation, the tasers have been upgraded
One time. I mean, I'm just having issue with the 10-year term. I mean, stuff are changing. I mean, we're stuck with this. I know you said you're gonna, I mean, how does it work? If something new comes up?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Do we have to pay for it again?
You do not. So it's built into the contract, guaranteed hardware refreshes, and you can kind of see. I'll actually bump back to this, You can kind of see right here, can you see, if you see my Zoom cursor, it says hardware refresh.
Yeah, I see it on the screen.
Built in. So throughout the duration of the 10-year contract, outside of what you receive day one, you're going to receive all new equipment. But throughout the 10 years, you're going to receive 4 new sets of body-worn cameras, 2 new sets of in-car cameras, 3 new sets of the VR training equipment, 1 new interview room system, 1 new set of tasers, and 3 new sets of drone technology. So we agree, technology is changing every day. What's available to now versus 5 years ago is drastically different, but we're not going to penalize you guys for deciding to partner with us long-term, and that's where these hardware refreshes are built in. It's designed to ensure you guys are staying up to date with technology as it evolves, and you're doing so at today's price versus what the cost is going to be, in 5 years. So you are protected against some of those technology changes.
I mean, I do agree with Council Chair if he can maybe shave some of the stuff that we don't need and maybe work on, I mean, I'm talking about myself here, maybe just work about the term too, maybe way less than 10 years. I mean, that's the way I look at it. I don't want to tie my department for 10 years. I mean, you never know what happens tomorrow.
Understood, yeah.
Council Chair?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I'm sorry, are you done?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Couple of things. First of all, how long is the current contract running till? And secondly, you said you've sold this program or people throughout the state and throughout the country. So I'm sure you've dealt with some municipalities that have gotten funding through grants or any other kind of exterior money coming in. Maybe for our next presentation, maybe you can come before us and give us some ideas of different grants that are available out there to help fund this.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We can certainly help with grants. Grants are generally handled internally through the department itself versus through Axon. I mean, we can certainly keep an eye out. But I know that there's a handful that are out there that have looked into, and that could be used to help fund this. So we can certainly try and get some information for you on what's available.
How long is the current contract?
It expires in 2027.
2027.
How many years was that contract? I think it was a
5-year.
5-year contract.
Yep.
See, that's more reasonable. To go 10 years, I mean, none of us might not be here in 10 years.
10 years is a big commitment, certainly. But the value in that, right, is you get a longer duration at what today's price is going to be, and you don't necessarily need to renew or come back and have a similar conversation on a more regular basis. And so, I certainly understand the weariness of locking into a longer term, but the financial benefits are certainly there and give you that long-term financial stability and predictability. Any other questions?
And again, I want you guys to keep in mind that this gentleman also came in from Chicago, wanted to present this before us. He did a full, almost 2.5 presentation with his team at the police station. What I would like to just see is maybe if you can give us an option, you don't have to come back and present it, at least put it in writing about a 5-year contract and seeing if we can somewhat, because realistically, we renew to another, I mean, even a 6-year contract would be realistic.
Our contract terms are generally done in 5 and 10-year increments.
Yeah,
so,
maybe show us another 5.
Yeah, we can absolutely look.
I don't think we need to have the whole AI speaking, 2 languages.
Yeah, I mean, I'll defer to the department on what needs are. If you're going to ask me from Axon, I think all this technology is revolutionary and can absolutely be.
I do believe the drones, the station drones, and all that are very, very important. I know, I've spoken to Chief Shaheen, who's told me that they're using it in Dearborn now. I know that is absolutely great. I even asked him to see his contract. I haven't been able to see anything yet.
Okay.
And the difference is, Dearborn has a budget of $160 million. We got a budget of
62.
No, we have an inflated 62. We have a reality of 52.
Sure. So yeah, I mean, I can work with the department and see, but yeah, I would defer to them on of the items that are included, what's essential. Again,
Maybe
you ask me, it's all
with
essential.
Captain Han, and then Captain, if you don't mind, putting us in an email with the clerk and maybe even Plant Moran Gap, and we can speak with Michelle. She can give us a breakdown if this is something we can or can't afford, or what's the max that we can afford. Because if you only hear the conversations we're having, it's we have nothing to really bump our budget more unless we're finding sources or different revenue sources or finding ways of getting some type of help.
Yeah, understood. And then again, we can do this really at any time. I hate to press hard, but the one thing I have concern on, and I know the department did as well, is just the end of the AI era pricing. So just ask to keep that in the back of your mind, but we can work with them as quickly as y'all would like.
Quickly as possible, figure something out for us. I know there's $1 million 50% discount.
Yep.
I think it's safe to say that Dearborn Heights has been loyal to Axon.
Absolutely.
We're even looking to move forward to upgrading our equipment and moving on for an additional contract. I don't think 10 years is feasible for the city. I can't make that promise for the next 10 years. And then you get to year 10 and it's up almost same amount of money. If we went option number 3, if you come to year 2033, my son's graduating high school, and the city has to come up from 253,000 to 800,000. And then the next year going up to 900,000. So that's $1 million, almost, yeah. The reality is, no matter how you play it out, it's $5.5 million.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, again, we'll work with the department and council to make any adjustments or show y'all whatever y'all need. We can do an analysis on if you did this in a 5-year term and then you did another 5-year term in 2027. We did something similar with if we did your current contract, as you can kind of see here, if we kept your current contract as is without any of the new drones, without any of the new technology that we discussed, you just renewed this in 2027 on a 5-year term and then again in 2032 and that 5 years was up. If you look here, the projections show that you'd actually end up paying more starting in 2032 for the program you have today without any of the extra stuff. And so that's just kind of the concern with a 5-year contract versus a 10-year.
Well, what we would have to do in that contract, and I'm not saying this, but it's the reality, we would have to go out for bid.
Sure.
So if we wanted to renew with you guys, we're not just going to say, okay, well, we're going to use Exxon and only Exxon. We're going to go out for an RFQ, and it's going to become a competitive bid.
Right.
At the end of the day, with respect to everybody, anybody that can get a 5-year contract is going to want to sign up a 5-year contract with the municipality, including your company. What we're saying is, if you want us to renew now, we need somewhat of a better cost.
Sure.
And, you get it, you're right. It could potentially go up to, you're paying almost $8 million in the 10 years if we were to do a 2-different-year renewal contract. Or it doesn't.
Sure. Yeah.
Or it becomes so competitive because IT is becoming so large that people are like, hey, man, I can code this and I can do this for you guys as well at a quarter of the cost. We don't know. We don't know what happens in 3 years. So we have to kind of just work together a little bit. I'm not saying you're not working together. You guys have shown amazing gratitude towards coming here, having the presentation, bringing the staff, buying lunch for the police officers, teaching officers on how to use things. So all we're saying is, as a fiduciary to the city, has to make, we have to have the money to give you guys. Absolutely. I don't want to sign a contract and then you guys come up for payment. We're like, hey, man, guys, sorry, we can't pay you.
I completely understand. Again, this was merely just to make sure you guys were informed on kind of what we wanted to do. I'm happy to continue to work with the police department to find something that works. And obviously, we appreciate the partnership and the partners that you guys have been to us over the last few years. We're excited to continue being partners moving forward. So
for sure.
Could I ask one more question?
Sure.
Is it possible to get a list of the people in Michigan that have already bought this program so we could check with them?
And I think
how
you
it's
have-
working?
yeah, what program exactly are you looking for?
The one that you're suggesting to us. You've already sold it to others, I'm sure?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I'm happy to provide a list of current customers and some of the programs that you have.
And if in fact they're getting grants, if that could be included, that would be really good.
Well, they're on the private sector side. I don't know if they would.
I don't know specifically what type of grants other agencies are utilizing.
Right.
But I know we can help with grants. Those are just typically applied for and done internally through the department itself. But however we can help, we will.
Yeah, we really like it.
Council Chair.
Yes, sir, Councilman.
What assurance do we have, though, if we enter into like a 5 or 10-year contract, that any changes in technology, any upgrades will be reflected in the equipment we get?
Yeah, and so just within the terms and conditions of the contract, we'll outline what we call our Technology Assurance Program, or TAP. We'll outline the guaranteed refreshes that you will receive. And so that is all outlined in the contract itself within the terms and conditions.
So there's a provision that says we'll get state-of-the-art upgrades when they come out? Is that basically it?
Absolutely, yeah. The technology assurance plan, which the service, it outlines the schedule in which the refreshes will be received, and the fact that they will be upgraded at the time to, you'll be eligible to receive the latest model if it is available at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, everyone.
Jake, let's get on an email. Maybe, CC me, the clerk, and, somebody. Huh? I'll CC you. Okay. And, let's get some legal, things in writing. And let's just, let's hear from our finance specialist.
Excellent.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everyone.
guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
I'll open it up to the public if we have any questions. Yes, sir.
Question about the subject, though.
How you doing, sir?
everyone.
Please state your name, the city you reside in, and the street that you live on.
Yeah, Hussein, Woodward Circle. First of all, thank you very much for the presentation. In all transparency, I've been part of a few shareholder meetings with Axon, so it was really nice to actually get a first time actually listening to them and the new stuff that they got going on. There's two specific things that I had a question on, particularly in regarding to the AI report writing. I'm wondering, the numbers gave a really good story, but I felt they gave just a small portion of it. I'm wondering how many drafts after the first draft have officers had to redo drafts after the first one? So just in terms of the cost analysis in that. And then the second one, have you had any scenarios in the past where someone has outrun a drone? And what has been the repercussions of, have you guys had to deploy other things? Has there been case studies, essentially is what I'm asking, yep.
I guess to answer your first question regarding the AI report writing, so draft one merely is providing a first draft.
Speak into the mic for me, please. That's it.
Sure. So draft one is merely providing just a first draft of the report. Every single time after an officer is required to review that, make sure that it is accurate and make their own personal interpretation to it. And so all we're doing is we're breaking down the body-worn camera footage, providing a draft. So there will absolutely be human revisions that are required in order for that draft to be submitted and for them to adopt as their own. And so at least one will be required if supervisors, so after a draft is reviewed and submitted by an officer, it's then reviewed by a supervisor. The supervisor then decides that it needs additional detail, then they'll need to make a second revision and so on and so forth. So to answer your question, at least one. It is required in order for that to be adopted by their person to ensure that it's accurate and make their own and leverage their experience as law enforcement officers when writing a report. In terms of the second question regarding the drones, I don't know. I can't definitively say. I'm sure there has been, but I can't think of any one scenario off the top of my mind where a drone has been outrun or somebody has evaded a drone, though I'm sure it has happened in the past. Generally, drones are used in support of law enforcement officers on the ground and are designed to give a different perspective, obtain different information from the sky that they may not be readily available by an officer on the ground. So I can't just definitively say, but I'm sure it has happened, and it's generally just there as support and a different resource to be used. Sure.
Any other questions? Did you have any more questions, sir? No, sir. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else in the audience? All right. Seeing none, we'll take it over to Zoom. Anyone on Zoom? Seeing none. All right. We'll take it on to our study session.